Everybody, really excited to be talking to Christopher Witecki about the map of the cosmos and how that relates to our life. If you guys didn't know, that word cosmos, I believe it's a Greek word, and it refers to everything, essentially. It refers to the outside, the inside, and the world. It's essentially the world as a whole domain is what the cosmos is. It's not just the stuff that's in, quote, outer space. So guys, drop a chat about what's been going on for you in the last few days and what's shaping up for this week. We usually talk a little bit about grander philosophies and grander indications regarding what's going on with reality, what's going on potentially with our life over a longer period of time. Sometimes we take some tangents and get into some deep rabbit holes, and then towards the end, we break down day by day what to expect day by day. It's not necessarily that, let me pull. Here he comes, everybody. I thought he was coming, except. How's it going?
How we doing?
Good. I can hear you loud and clear.
Good. Okay. I'll scream louder.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was thinking about how things were going actually as I was setting up, and for me it feels a bit chaotic, and then
Today.
also friends and family all seem to be sort of like at the edge of a decision that seems scary, or at least not not easy to make, not confirmed, not comfortable. That's just kind of like what's going on internally with me and people around me. Not sure if that has any meaning.
It has lots of meaning. First of all, this is the last day of Cancer, and so you have to make this decision through a feeling, not a thought. So that's the whole point, that you cannot make future decisions with just our mind anymore. We're in uncharted territory for the human race.
I just got a message that said Christopher Techie is unable to join. I'm not sure if I'm frozen or he's frozen. It'd be cool if I was frozen, then nobody would be hearing me and you'd be hearing him right now because he's the one talking. Guys, let me know who's frozen if you can hear me. I guess it'll answer itself. Let me see if I can get him back on. Christopher Witecki joined.
Okay.
All right.
Mercury is retrograde, guys, and we've had this problem with Instagram before. So let's just, Instagram, pay your people. I don't know what you're going to figure this stuff out, man. But what I was saying is that the human race, we're at a point now where we're moving into uncharted territory for the human race. And so your mind has no idea, literally no idea what to do, and your mind is not going to. You have not done this. No one's done this. The only time we have an idea of something that we can do something is because we've done it before. It's the only time we have an idea. We don't
Right.
really have, we have a feeling that's a creative, I have this feeling I could do this. It's different. A feeling is different. So for your family, what feels best? The path of least resistance, the path that feels the best is the path. And if you want to like go more scientific, then, ask yourself over the course of 3 days, once a day, ask your entire family to weigh in on it over the course of, feel it again the next day, feel it again the next day. Basically, you want to feel it when the moon's in two different signs. So the moon, could be in one sign today, and then in 2 days it's in another sign. Just as long as you get two signs, the moon in two signs, and you get the same feeling, then that's a yes.
How
If you get a good feeling.
How often does the moon switch signs?
Just about almost every 36 hours, like day and a half,
Okay.
basically.
So
Okay, every day and a half. Yeah.
So the 3 days is definitely going to cover that.
Yes, 3 days is a guarantee, and three is also like three sunrises, and three is a magical number, and so I just say 3 days to be sure, and just feel it out. And it's a scary leap. I made the leap probably about 2 years ago to start going with what I feel, and let the feeling be the decision. It's like, this feels right, I'm going to do it. This feels right, I'm going to do it. And you just have to like walk and see that you don't die, and you don't destroy your whole life, to start to see like, oh my God. I mean, it'll be usually a subtle thing that teaches you. Like I don't feel we should go tonight. No, I don't feel we should go either. And it's just like, airplane crashes in the disco. You're like, You have a couple of those where you'll be like, okay, that's it. We're going with our feelings, you know. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're in the last day of Cancer. Today's step 29 Cancer. Today's really just about, you know, how you respond to yourself. What you should learn and know for fact, folks, is that the way you control life is not by responding to the outer world at all. It's by responding to how you feel on the inside, period. That's what 29 is, which is Gary. You know, Gary's a 29 Sag. The 29th degree is the degree when everything happens. That's when all the magic starts to happen, okay, is in that final degree. If like you could say that really an entire zodiac transit is 28 days preparing for 29. That's what it is. You prepare for 28 days to get through 29. And on 29, when you get to that day, all you do is you respond to your feelings as if you were, you know, a dancer in a show, you know, or as if you're a pilot, you know, flying through the air. As if you're anyone who performs already responds to their feelings naturally. Those are people that are trained to respond to their feelings. They don't have time to think about double twist, somersault, blah, blah, blah. You know, like they practice and practice. They feel their body contort. They feel things. They can't, feelings are faster than thoughts, right? Feelings are once every 28-day cycle. Thoughts are once every 88-day cycle, right? So it's a much faster vibration emotion. It's got better, let's say, fidelity and better, what do you call it when they call, I can't remember what they call it with internet. You know, it's like latency. It's like better latency. Emotions do, like just more up to the second, millisecond. So today, respond to your feelings. So if someone makes you upset today or something upsets you, it doesn't matter at all what's upset you at all. It does not matter what upset you at all. You know, it doesn't matter. It's the 10th time they've done it. It doesn't matter any of that stuff. What matters is how do you respond to yourself in that moment? That is what changes your life. When you respond to yourself differently in that moment, and you just ignore the other person, that's what changes your life. It's not what you tell them having the last word.
That's difficult for a lot of people to imagine being the right thing to do. So the question
Because
that the question that
why?
ultimately comes up immediately is like, well, what about the person taking advantage of me or taking advantage of kids or taking advantage of whatever? Am I supposed to just ignore that and be okay with it? And so
Yes,
what do
it's
you
not
say
your
to
life.
that?
It's not your life. It's not your life.
Okay.
Yes, it's not your life. Why would you control it? If it's, you know, that's arrogant of us to
Right.
assume that you got your own life, you run your life. You know, it's
Yeah.
like you want punishment. That's why you can't let go of
Right.
it. People want punishment. You want revenge. You want them to pay. You want them to know. Well, that is barbaric, folks. I'm sorry. Might as well just do capital punishment. Let's just put them in a line and shoot them. Then you know, it's like that is you getting kind of a little bit of a high off of hurting someone. I mean, let's get to honest with it, right?
Yeah.
It's like they may get away with it forever. You know, isn't who cares? Why do you care, right? This idea of justice and that human beings serve the justice is not the way God works at all. There is no justice in that way, the way that human beings think it is. An eye for an eye. It's not the way it is with God. You know, it's an experience for an experience, really, in that sense. But it's not even equal usually in that sense. But anyways, we're coming out of these are old, you know, so Earth in Capricorn is what's been happening this whole time, which means we've been changing the rules this whole time very, very quietly in the background. And so, you know, when you say, I feel I'm going to do this. Well, mommy, you never do that before. The rule's always been this. So really what's changing are the rules, right? Of rules of engagement. When we decide, when we don't decide, how we decide, do we hold that, you know? And so, you know, in this case, you know, the rule used to be, I had to tell them, you know, the rule is I got to let that person know. Now the rule is I'm just here for me, kind of thing. Now this prepares you for Leo, which starts tomorrow. And this is going to be a very weird Leo transit. It's going to feel like a how do I put this? It's going to feel kind of like Enya. We kind of feel like it's going to be like an Enya, like, you know, sail away, just kind of like just in your own little tropical kind of, you know, colorful paradise. And what people are going to be facing is inside them, what does their heart really want? So people are asking themselves this question in Leo: what does my heart really want? What does my heart want really? And some of this is because things have changed. Some of this is because things are changing. You know, in your case, you've got some exciting news coming up, right? So,
Right.
you know, so it's like, what does my heart want? What kind, you know, for you guys, it's like, you know, what color is the, you know, do we paint it pink or blue? The bedroom, you know, like, so there's a lot of like fun stuff to choose, you know, because it's a new path. But ultimately, this is because I have overcome my karma. I'm no longer ashamed about this. I'm no longer worried about that. I don't give a fuck about that person. You know, it's like all that stuff is out. And so it's like, well, now what? All I've been doing is, you know, facing this pain and all this misery for all these years. Like, what do I do now? So some people are going to just feel like they're just like, what do I do? I'm so bored. If you're bored in Leo, you're not connected to your heart. Okay. If you're bored, you're not connected to your heart. Your heart always has something to do. Think about kids in church. It's like, we put that down. Stop it. As soon as, as soon as you tell the kids not to do this, they've created another way to do something. That's how an active heart is. It'll create something immediately to replace what it lost, right? And just create a whole new thing. So if you are bored in the Leo season, you're disconnected from your heart. So there's several layers of where you are with your heart coherence. If you want to use I can't remember his name now, but he deserves the title. You know, you know what I'm talking about?
You're about Great Braden or the Heart Math Institute?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, exactly. Thank you. I see faces now. I'm not seeing names all of a sudden, so it's been weird. But the truth is, there's several layers of where people are with their heart. And actually, I'm just going to go ahead and plug Sirius Joy here because we're here for this season better than any season there is. If you engage in your heart through the entire Leo season, which starts tomorrow, and you engage for 40 straight days, you will change your life. We promise you will change your life. Okay. And there are several levels you can do with it at Sirius Joy. If you join Sirius Joy, you get it for free. The whole program is called the 40 Days of Self-Love. All you do is we give you questions to ask your heart every day. You write them down. That's it. That's all I have to do. Write down the questions. Just write down your answers. And the process that I channel this from the angels, and this the process the interview you go through with your heart will tell you everything that's wrong in that 40 days, everything. And in most cases, will bring people to the right place. Like they'll be on the right journey at that point, like finally admitting that they want to be an artist or finally admitting that they want something like that. So it's very powerful. Now, a lot of our clients, we've had that program up for about 5-6 years. So a lot of our clients want something new, and we have something new. We now have an Oracle deck class taught by Gwen English, where you'll go over the same 40 days, but you'll create your own Oracle deck using collage, so you don't have to have zero artistic experience whatsoever. And Gwen sort of takes it to this next level, where she's going to teach you that accessing creativity is accessing your soul. When you are creative, you are with your soul, always. And so many people don't need to sit there and meditate and put up walls and all this stuff. Just go create something, and boom, you're with God. You're with creation. So we have this new program, with Gwen, and it is also available, by the way, at SiriusJoy.academy. And then the biggest hoopla is the Intro to Step Astrology class, which starts this week on Tuesday and Thursday. But you can register this for the whole week if you want to. This is actually giving you the secrets of manifestation and levels that we have not released before to the public. This is going to tell you the entire history, and this is going to actually last for 15 weeks. So we've never carried a class 15 weeks before, which means we've never carried them 15 steps before, any of our clients. We basically take them to 11, and then we drop them off. Good luck, But the point is, this third thing is intro to class. There's two versions, a personal and a professional. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give away a lot of our secrets in this class about how it is you manifest changing your life forever. So if you take the personal class, you can change your life forever. It ends right before Halloween when we have the big, that is actually New Year's, Halloween. I don't know if you know that, but so it ends right before New Year's. And so you'll find yourself dumped off with a whole new life by November if you just take the class. And the class is super easy. It's just asking questions about yourself. The personal class also helps you with all of your relationships with other people. And like, why can't I get along with my boss? And blah, blah. So we ask you to have a crumble chart and some other things there. And so there's labs on the weekends, there's labs where we have, the ability to help you and like work with it. So it's fully thorough. Then there's the professional version. And the professional version is for you to use step astrology in your current profession. I don't care if you're a banker or if you are a Reiki healer or if you are a tarot card, step system is everywhere. It is the conscious operating system of the human. It is our operating system. It's a human operating system that's built hard-coded into the body. And so we're now giving this perspective out that once you have this formula, you can do anything. Thank you for indulging me on that.
And so you have to register to get in there this week. Is that what I'm hearing? To get into the Intro to Step Astrology, there's a deadline to pull the trigger on that?
Here's what happens. This week we have two classes this week. They're really videos with me narrating. And so you can watch them anytime. They're not going to be like where you're missing anything. You want to watch them before you take the class, but it's next week that we start working with your chart and start working with your magic to create your new life. So you have a week to register. You can catch these up on the weekend, these two other classes that kind of gives you the background of step astrology, some of the basics and tenets of step astrology, because step astrology comes from this premise of many things. One of which that we create our own reality. That's one of the tenets, that we create our own reality. So we're going to learn stuff like that in the first week, and then next week you start changing your life. And now the planets say that this year, We have the biggest life change happening between Leo and Virgo, the biggest that you'll ever see. I mean the biggest. And I don't know what's going to turn into. I'm sure it's going to be all sorts of interesting stories that I haven't heard, thought about as far as life changing. But yeah, this is it, man. We're on to it, and then it's going to be, quite a ride the next 18 months.
So basically, in 30-ish days, there's going to be a huge transition for all of us, is what you're saying.
We are predicting that, yes, and I've been so busy. I haven't been able to watch any of my other astrologers out there. But what we're looking at on our team is that we're seeing a complete life change in Virgo. So this will be that. But well, let's put it this way: but Virgo, you're like, this won't work anymore. By Scorpio, it's done. So by Halloween, a little late Scorpio, it's done. Deal's done. You've moved. It's done. Baby's out. It's like it's done. You're there. You're in the new world. And then we sort of coast through the holidays, like, well, whoa, this is freaky. And then come like next February, whoa, we really don't have the imagination or the history to imagine what may happen in February. We just can't tell.
Okay, so we got SiriousJoy.Academy,
Dot
and then
Academy.
and
Hmm.
then what's the better place for people to follow you on Instagram? Like, because you have two accounts, right? Or what?
We have two. We have Sirius Joy TV and we have Sensei Christopher. So one is more about me and one's more about Sirius Joy. But Sirius Joy TV is where we're on all of our social media, and Sensei Christopher is all over there too. Because some stuff is not always about my company Sirius Joy, but SeriousJoy.com, again, if you've never done any of this, it's like, Jesus, what's he talking about? Just come to SeriousJoy.com, because for the first month of that 40 days, you'll pay $4. And the next month you'll pay 19. So it's like you'll pay $23 to change your life for 40 days. You can quit right then, if you want to. This shift works, guys. We've had people get married, get mortgages turned on a house when they didn't look like they're going to get passed. Like, because this is how the world works. Consciousness is built with a system. God did not just wing this. There's a system. And it's so brilliant when you start to see it unfold. It's so ever present in your life. And the thing is we're going to help you in the class. We're going to help you find your own step algorithm. Every human being has a secret step algorithm to their success, a secret number. It's like a social security number, but longer. And basically, this is the sequence. This will always make sure that you will be on the right path. Now, I don't expect you to believe any of this bullshit. You should try it. Try it and see for yourself. You'll see in the first week that this actually happens. And it's funny too, because even I know that it happens. Whenever I can't get something I want, I'm like, why am I not using the steps? Like, I still just forget to do it. And then as soon as I do, I'm back on track again. So it's an amazing time
So I got a
in our
question
lives.
here. What times are the classes conducted? Are they live?
The classes are taped live because I love the energy of taping in class live, because I just want to feed off the students. I feel psychically connected to them. We have people on camera in the front row. So they're taped live, but you can watch them about 3 hours after they've been taped. So we'll post them up for people to watch. So the answer to the question is, it depends on if it's professional and personal, but pretty much it's like Tuesday afternoon, Thursday morning. So it's like one's in the morning, one's in the afternoon. So whatever kind of life you have, one of them be good for you. And then labs on Saturdays. Labs on Saturdays. And then we also have tutor programs available too. So if your person like wants help, no problem. We have a tutor program where you can have unlimited tutoring, or you can just like go in one time and like fix up, like look at a lot of things, make sure you have stuff down. So we've really built a team of staff, and also teachers assistants who can help people with this. You will not walk away confused. You will finish this class and you'll love it. You'll love it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm super excited for those that are going to join that, because it's going to level up the understanding of the step system, which will permeate your life and influence it.
Yeah, it is the keys to driving the car, man. It is the formula. There's no question about it for us. So the whole paradigm of what humans are is changing. You know, I mean, I don't know what you think a human is. Some people think it's like a random biological event that happened in an amoeba, a million years ago, and somehow magically evolved into this human being, right? Some people believe that this is just a fractal universe, and that this is basically, um, generated sequence, right? Like a computer game. And the reality is that it is not real. It's not real. Our consciousness makes this, and we have not been running our lives from that perspective. We've been running our lives as if it's going to end. Once it's over, it's all over, and you can't ever go back, you can't ever change. Like, all these rules about what life is completely incorrect. So we literally are running around thinking the wrong things. The human race.
Right.
Mhm.
I so what do you think about? I went back to my hometown. My brother still lives in the same city we grew up in,
That's
and
funny.
he asked me about coincidence, and he has no social media. He has no idea what I even do. So like he just
Wow.
asked me like a random question about what do I think about coincidence, because he's starting to perceive that his creative powers, right, and he's starting to see
Wow.
when he puts intention into something, like everything starts to line up. He's working on a pretty big project, which is really cool. But he asked me
Mm.
about coincidences. So I just want
Hmm.
to ask you, just so everyone
Mm.
can benefit from your answer. If somebody asks you about like coincidences or things happening that coincide with your thoughts, what does that mean?
Your entire life is a coincidence. Okay, a coincidence, a coincident. Okay, basically everything in your life, everything you see, if your eyes land on a billboard while you're driving on the road, if your eyes end up landing on a mom with a kid, nothing in your day is random at all. Not one thing. It is all created by a consciousness. It is all chosen by a consciousness. It is not random. And so what ends up happening is this reality that we live in is a reflection of who we are. Because if you close your eyes right now, that's what heaven's like. Right there. That's heaven. Heaven is basically being in your mind, what we call being in our mind. That's very boring, isn't it? And so we can't see who we are when we're like this. We can't see who we are. We don't understand who we are. We don't understand our problems. And so this great, theme park called Earth was created where the park itself becomes a version of you. So the
Mhm.
park becomes a version of you. Oh my God, that's my favorite song they're playing over there. Not an accident, not a coincidence. Oh my God, three people look like my ex-wife. Not a coincidence. None of it's a coincidence. It is all programmed consciousness. It's basically that my perspective now is that we're living in a dream right now. And I've said this to you 1,000 times with some people. I think right now we're asleep in heaven. We're in some sort of meditation, and this is a dream right here. This is the dream. So of course your conscious is making every little aspect of this dream. Everything is creating it and agreeing with it and saying, yes, put that into my film. So the coincidence is, yeah, it's all made by you. That's why. It's all you. It's all you. And you'll
Right.
start, if you look for these signs, you'll see them immediately in your life, immediately. And then the step system basically tells you the steps in which things appear. So it's like, okay, well, when's this going to happen? Well, let's look at the steps. It'll be the 2 steps or 4 steps or five. And a step is a day for most people. One day is one step.
Can we go back to something you said earlier? You were talking
Mhm.
about moons have a cycle, or emotions have a cycle. Forget some cycle of
Frequency.
28 days, and then there's
Mhm.
that mind was 88 days. What is
Correct.
that 88 days? I'm curious about that. Like where does that come in? What's that based on?
So a cycle is a trip around the sun, right? One loop around its center point. And so, you go like as a kid, you go riding around the block. Oh, look, there's grandma, there's Pop. Hi, Dad. Blah blah. There's my school. And you come back to where you are. That's one loop. Like if you go around, ride your bike around the block, that's one cycle, right? It's the same damn scenery, right? And you come to this place where you started, right? That's the same thing with a cycle in the mind or a cycle in any state of awareness. The 12 signs are 12 states of human awareness. 12 ways humans know they're alive. They're plugged in. Think of it as 12 features in a video game that you have. Emotion is just one feature, which is Cancer. We're coming out of emotion. We're going into the heart now. We're going into the creator. We're going to the center of the video game for the next 30 days, which means we could change the entire game because now we're going to the core, which is the sun, right? So the sun actually is the only one that doesn't, the sun doesn't really have a cycle, but the earth does because it revolves around the sun. So we call it a sun cycle, but that's really an earth cycle that we live in because the earth is going around the sun obviously every 360 days, right? 365 days, right? So this has to do with the frequency of the mind will start to repeat itself every 88 days. Emotion starts to repeat itself every 28 days, basically. And so, and each of these has a different cycle, right? Um, you know, Uranus repeats itself. No, not Uranus. Yes, Uranus repeats itself every 84 years. Every 84 years, it's on the repeat. So that's a whole human lifetime before it starts to repeat itself. You're lucky to see it start to repeat. You won't even really notice because of
Right.
how slow that wave is. And the slower the wave, the slower it takes to come to fruition, right? So emotions are like all over the place, super fast, right? But Uranus, which is innovation, well, how much have we innovated from 1950, 1942 to now? Because that's the cycle. 42 to now was the last Uranus and Gemini cycle, 84 years. And here we are. You got to see it again. Uranus and Gemini is us now innovating everything electronic. So you think that we've been innovating electronics in the last 20 years? No, All the electronics were majorly innovated in actually World War II. Everything we have now pretty much is still World War II discovery. We discovered all that during that small period of Uranus and Gemini, from radar to nuclear weapons to to television to to advanced satellite stuff to rockets. Like all that was invented just in that period, right? So it takes the next from that period of about 8 years over the next Uranus then implements it into the entire system. Those new ideas, right? So that's a cycle of how long it takes. And one cycle is one trip around. So after you make a trip, you can come to a conclusion about what that cycle was like. And usually what happens is you go up. So this is why the corkscrew, the spiral going up, that's really the symbol of consciousness because you never really go in a full circle. You're kind of going up the whole time in your
Yeah,
awareness. So you get higher and higher from a higher perspective.
right. You integrate what you did on the other cycle, and the next cycle you have that perspective to go through again.
Yes, so yeah, totally, exactly. And you're tested on the old cycle that you try to let go of, it like tempts you back, and the new cycle gives you clues to what might be around the corner. And so it's this gradation. It's really just human beings on a conscious ride, like I mean, it's like okay. I mean, it's like you wind up the toy, put it down, and what makes a lifetime, unique is the perspective you take. I'm going to try this lifetime from a born again Christian, and you do try from now I'm try from biker, and you literally try life from these different perspectives of looking at things, which is why no person's opinion is ever wrong. Never. There's such thing as wrong. Wrong is according to a perspective you happen to have chosen. If I'm getting too philosophical, let me know.
No, so that kind of ties into before, where people are having, especially when they start looking at atrocities like war and child abuse and things like that. That's essentially any argument that comes my way. That's the first thing that gets brought up is like, what about people abusing children? Am I not supposed to care about that? Um, what is the purpose? And I'm sure, I mean, I've asked myself these questions, but is there a purpose for things that inherently seem like again, this is the word that is not coming from me saying it, but other people. It seems like they shouldn't be happening in any universe ever. Like a child getting abused as, before they even
It's
have
not.
a defend themselves.
Gotcha. I don't mean to jump. First of all, it's not happening in a universe. It's happening in your dream, and you wake
Okay.
up and everything's fine. It didn't really happen. It
Okay.
didn't really
Yeah.
happen. That's the thing. You don't realize it didn't
Reach.
really happen.
Right.
It was a bad movie. It was a bad. I mean, I wake up. I woke up for dreams. I've killed people. I'm like, the fuck, Like that's not me. I'm not that person, right? Well, it's not real. You didn't kill anybody. Like, why are you so upset? You know, that's literally the problem with life. It's not real, and yet we're upset. Why? Because we don't know how to handle the emotions of being upset. It's not, the lesson isn't, I did something bad. The lesson is, what did I do to myself after I did something bad? How did I treat myself? How does God react? That is what life is about. How we respond, how we react to ourselves. That's what life's about. Because again, close your eyes. This is heaven. You can't learn this way. Human beings can think and compose and there's a universal mind. And yes, we're connected to all minds in heaven. So we've got like this, huge mega mind. So we can think into all these different libraries of knowledge. But we basically don't, we only see what we create in our imagination up there and it becomes kind of temporary and it kind of fades away. From what I understand, it's like the set of a theater. You can be thinking like you're in Nebraska and you're in Nebraska. And then as soon as you stop thinking about it, it starts to fade. And you think, oh, I'm thinking about myself in my old home with my grandma. Boom, heaven looks like the home of your grandma. But you start thinking about something else that starts to fade. It's just always fading out, never staying there. And so we developed this system where we can go into a little bit of a dream and live this course of a lifetime over and over again, where we can simulate ways of being us. And maybe our conscious will become us this forever. I don't know. Like where it's heading with this. It's doing research and development. I was shown that.
Can we? So I'd like to go just a little bit deeper. I know this is getting into
Oh my
like
God, go man.
controversial topics, but like, what about someone just asked a question like, well, what about if I was the person that was abused as a child? Does that mean that it's all fake? Like, what does it mean if somebody was that person that was abused as a child?
You were abused because you wanted to understand what that experience would be like. And just like you go to a theme park and you're like, oh my God, the haunted house, what would that be like? Why do you walk into a haunted house at a theme park? You're supposed to be there having fun. Why would you walk into a haunted house? Why would you go on a scary roller coaster? Why? Why?
Or
You
watch
know,
a movie.
because the truth is we're bored as hell up there. And we're like, after you've done a few of those lifetimes, you're like, I want to be the bad guy. You know, like you start to want to be. Now, here's the weird thing that's going to flip out that person. And I don't want to upset them in any ways because you have to understand what we're learning is how to deal with the emotions. That's what we're learning is how to deal with the emotions. But the truth of the matter is, if you were abused in this lifetime and you've never abused any child or anything in any other lifetime, you will abuse a child in a future lifetime. You will become the perpetrator because the way it's understood in the universe is you have to actually learn all sides. What it was like for the perpetrator that wanted to abuse a child in the first place or abuse you in the first place. What's the only thing that God has as a rule? You have to finish your plate. So if you start a cycle, you have to actually do the full lap around that planet. And so the full lap is, here I'm the victim, here I'm the one that caused it. And you learn both sides. But I feel like what people should do or ought to do, could do, I'm getting rid of the word should, and that is you could simply ask the universe to see more of this truth in your life. Like, show me. I want to see more of this truth. What says he's talking about. Like, show me. Because I've had so many experiences, and one may come to mind here in this moment, where there was just no doubt. Like, it was so proven to me. Like, some come to mind as like past life experiences. I'll have like a dream where I'm like, well, that's weird. I was like an archer in the woods, and none of that happens. Then I get like a phone call 2 minutes later. 2 minutes later, it's like, dude, just had this dream. We're in archers in the woods together. He's like, what? That's fucking crazy, man. There's, chances. And then you go to get a reading on Friday, with your wife, and the reader's like, and you were an archer in a past life. It's like, what the fuck? You'll get that kind of affirmation as soon as you want it. Like, the reason why you don't get that proof is because you're afraid of the truth and you haven't asked.
Right.
You haven't asked. It's sort of like, it's almost like they say lucid dreaming. There comes a point in dreaming where you can become lucid, which means you become aware of the fact that you are actually in a dream. And at that point, you can control the dream. You could say the human race is now lucid living. We're now beginning to see lucid living. We're now beginning to see that we actually are the ones in this dream and we can control it.
Yeah.
And how do we do it? The steps. The steps are how you do it. Because the way God built it, or whoever creator is, or what their name is, there's a sequence in which it must be done. There's a sequence, And that sequence is what you pay attention to first, and then what you pay attention to second, and then what you pay attention to third. It's like God said, you can do anything if you look at it this way, in this sequence. And if you do it in that sequence, it happens. It's all built in magically.
Thanks for answering that. Yeah, it seems like the moment of contention is because we've been convinced our entire life to fear death and that we only live once. And
Yes.
that kind of like erases our ability to perceive things from a higher realm or a greater version of self, or even that God perspective, because we're just concerned with from moment of birth to death as being the only thing that matters. And when
Yes.
something bad happens to us, we're like, oh, it got messed up. Why did it get messed up to me? And there's not really any resolution there. And it just is a big scar on our psyche and society. Like this is causing a lot of people to hate others and hold grudges and not understand that this is an experience where we're experimenting and learning about ourselves and our creation abilities.
Totally. I mean, the truth of the matter is, from what I understand in the story, is that human beings are very special. Human is spelled HUEMAN, multiple color human being. We have the ability to create and do anything. No other alien species has that ability. None. Okay. And they're jealous a little. Okay. And they want to control us. Some, I know who they are specifically. I'm not an expert in that. But so, it's like, come down. What if a little kid had magic and you said to the kid, you're a sinner and you need to get happy with God? And you never told her that, or him, that he was a magical person. He had magic. You said, instead of telling him magic, you're the reason everything's going wrong. You're the reason that's the problem. It's your fault. You should feel bad about that. And so it's like, wow, this kid who's magical, who can make something magical happen, is now magically making all this shit happen. So we've literally been tricked into using our magic against ourselves. That's what's happened. That's what's happened. Every human being has been tricked into using their magic against themselves. And that's so it would be used against the other person, obviously, because they don't have it. Like, turn these monkeys off. Who knows what could happen on this planet? And so that's what's happened. We've been stuck in that. That's the Dark Ages. Dark Ages is the lie. You are spirit, you are consciousness, you are God consciousness. The latest and greatest expansion of it, right? So, and it's funny. I just say keep working at it, guys. Like just stay open and ask spirit for examples, ask spirit to be shown in your heart. And by the way, you cannot ask spirit with a word. By the way, everyone, you have to know that they don't. There aren't words in heaven. There aren't words. Like ultimately, it's a different process, but your heart is what actually asks the question. So it's
Yeah.
sort of like if you want more experience, you kind of have to like a baby go, like, like literally, like your heart has to like, give me, please, bring, like the conscious of just bring. Simple, like caveman kind of expressions. And you'll find that if you pray from the heart with no words, you get instant results. Instant.
That's that that's a magical part of life. I mean, like even just for instance, I know this is a topic a lot of people are interested in, but decades ago when I was single, I wouldn't like say I wouldn't think or verbalize like I need to find girls. Like it wasn't like that. It was almost like you're saying, like a wordless recognition from like inside my soul that could sense better harmony or fun or like just a like a like I don't know. It's just I can't even say it, but it was like just a recognition of dating people would bring me happiness. And it was just like a noticing of that and holding on to that. And then all of a sudden, like it just like circumstances start happening because I was able to
Yes.
hold on to that recognition.
And the feeling of it. The
Right.
feeling of it is the frequency. So if you still feel it, it's still going. Right? So you can re-up a feeling. If it can go flat, you can reanimate it again. Like this feeling of being in love, and you're like, oh, I was a fool yesterday. No, 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 bring back the feeling. Oh, like bring it back, and you can, and and then you're on track again. So the moon swing around every 28 days. That's the thing. The moon is like you start to feel, and the moon's like no, and like it moves into another sign, 36 hours. So just as you start to feel good, oh, now it's another sign. Now 36 hours, oh, now there's another sign. So that's on purpose. God's like, come on, get good at it. Get good at managing it, get good at flying it, get good at taking control over the vibration and commanding the vibration to go the way you want. Don't let that moon knock you out of orbit. Go for, use your power. You have God behind you, so you can actually be stronger than the moon if you want. It's there for you, right?
Yeah.
Once you
Yeah.
receive it.
And I want to acknowledge what you said about like don't believe us or you like ask source, ask God, ask to be shown this information or to allow get more information on this information. Um,
Yes.
should we go? So you mentioned today's step 29, and we're going
Cancer.
into Leo. Like let's get into days of the week because
Okay, you got it. So this first week, the first decan, and the first 10 days, I mean, in astrology, it's really there's 3 weeks to a month in astrology, 3 weeks. And those weeks are 10 days, okay? Which is actually how humans used to have weeks way back in the day. And someone changed it. Augustus and Julie,
Julius
yeah,
Caesar.
Julius Caesar and Augustus, yeah, just decided to make their own fucking month and screwed it all up. So, okay, go ahead, guys. So, anyways, so it was basically the astrological system before, is what we're saying. So in that first 10 days, that first, star week, the whole topic is self-love. And you hear me say this all the time because it's the secret to everything in life. All right. The only way you can get more God energy in you is to love yourself. That's the only way. You don't get it. If you want to be mean to yourself, God cut you off. As soon as you are a jerk to yourself, you cut yourself off from source. That's it. It's that simple. Self-love is an inside job. It's not anything outside of you. You cannot use your dream to love yourself. Okay? You have to use your inside. It has to happen inside of you because that's where the dream is happening. That's where the dream is being created right now. This reality is being created inside of you. So to love yourself inside of you would mean that you keep yourself inside of you in this constant state of perpetual joy and love. You just always keep yourself there. Like you would a little baby. Like a baby's like, sometimes a baby, a baby will drop a food and be like, it doesn't know if it should cry or not. It's like, well, huh? like, it's like, what should I do? And so the baby chooses to be happy or sad. If you laugh at the baby's like, oh, okay, I'm
Yeah.
going to choose to laugh. If you cry, the baby's like, oh, I'm going to choose to cry. We are that way every moment in our life, folks. We choose what we're going to do next. It's just happening so fast. You're so good at it. You're not seeing where you chose it, but you're choosing every time. You're choosing to go ahead and go back to the sad. Oh, that means I have to be sad. No, it doesn't. It's your choice. You just said it has to. You just use your God power to say it has to. So to self-love is to keep yourself in a state of perpetual love. And is psychology a part of it? Is trauma a part of it? Yes, in the sense that those things happen that got you into these poor habits. So the trauma puts you down a certain habit. I just got out of, being sick for like, 2 weeks. Habit of being in pain every day. Like, well, pain every day, pain every day. So sure, every day I wake up like, where's the pain? I'm like, where is it? Like I got in the habit of expecting the pain. And one day I was just like, where's the pain? Like it was gone. It just went away because my body had healed it. Now, I could have obsessed that whole day. Oh, it's going to come any minute now. I just know it. I could have got myself right back on that pain train, and I could have just skipped that healing moment if I wanted to. But I've learned a long time ago. It's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just let it roll. So the first 10 days are you, and this is what we do in this 40 days of self-love. 40 days of self-love, again, $25 will get you into your heart. You will get back in your heart. Your child again. You'll find your beautiful part of yourself again. You'll find that fun part of you. People are like, I lost the fun part. 40 days of self-love. Like, all you need is 40 days. Okay. I'm not going to explain why now, but 40 is a very powerful step number. Steps go up to infinity, by the way. They don't stop 29. That's just where 3D reality stops. Okay. And we go into the non-material consciousness. So non-material consciousness is step 30. At step 30, you're now in non-material consciousness. Everything else is part of the material at that point. But so 40 days is actually what it takes to actually change your whole conscious program of how you live in the moment. Change your life, 15 would be 15 weeks, which is going to be our intro to step astrology class. But overall, the first 10 days are just, you set out to love yourself and you catch yourself, you're going to catch yourself being a bummer. And so in our journaling, we're like, why are you doing that? Why are you being a bummer? You said you're feeling good. Why bum yourself? We have been taught by TV, film, everything to fall into these ruts, right? And get swayed. And basically we've been taught to like clap like a seal at SeaWorld. I mean, that's what we've been taught to do. Like, look, bad men do bad, orange skin bad men, or this, that, look this bad. And we're like, oh, bad. We aren't even like coming up with it in our own dream. So it's like we've been in our dream up there and someone's like, now dream about a dolphin. It's like someone's like whispering in our ear. So the first 10 days is self-love stuff. So which means you just have to start seeking this out. That's why the program is so good, because we're just going to ask you questions. You just answer these questions, you'll get there. Promise. Like we haven't had anyone who didn't quit, people who quit. Okay. But we haven't had people who did it, didn't get through, like have amazing awakening. Okay. We've never heard of it. Because once you know, there's no going back. But you'll find in these first 10 days that you've fallen into certain habits due to things that you were experiencing so many times. You thought it was reality. You thought that's the way life is. Oh, that must be the way life is. Life is not. Life is not anything. Life is what you continue to agree to every day. That's it. And you don't realize you're continuing to agree to it all the time. So to slow down to see that. So what this means is, depending on where you are in your growth, if like you're in your 20s, you probably, it's hard in your 20s. You have to actually be 30 and above really to like see the maximum benefit of this. If you're in your 20s, you're going to boost your creativity, you're going to boost your magic, you're going to boost your fun. If you're in your 30s, you're going to start to see why you have pain and where it comes from this program, and going on up basically on what holds you back. But you'll see that you have fallen into these patterns where we deal with our spouses. Like every time my wife does this, I think that, like every time that my wife does this or my husband does that, I like get in this mode. Well, getting in that mode is a habit that you just continue to do because you didn't know what else to do, or you didn't realize you could do something else. So really just clearing bad habits. You look at a baby at 1 year old, no problems. Hasn't built any habits yet.
Right.
One's a self-love year. Mm-hmm.
So what week are we in now out of those three?
We're starting the first week of Leo tomorrow, step 0.
Oh, yeah.
So tomorrow's step 0. So tomorrow is like, okay, that's it. I'm drawing a line. This is my old life. This is my new life. This is my old life. This is my new life. This is my old life. So, what I'll say in tomorrow's pep talk is, I want you to go through your entire life and label it as old or new. The entire life, just everything you see. You're old, you're a new version. You may not even see a new version yet. You're like, okay, old space or new to come one day, right? That division right there is necessary, step 0, because God will not let one bleed into another. You've got to like put a line and start something new. You can't bleed your crap into someone else's dream. So you have to draw a line, and that line is actually a circle. Okay, this is the new, this is the old, this is the new, and that's step zero. That's the heart going, yes, there was a time before I drew this line that conscious sucked. Now, since I've drawn the line, it doesn't. And your mind's like, that's impossible, right? Shut the fuck up. I mean, the mind does not know, because step 5 is, 4 steps after the heart. So the mind never knows better than the heart, ever. It can never know better than the heart. It can never know better. So there came along this, a lot of people wanted to control minds. And so they came up with a lot of things where it's like, you need proof. You need proof that it's real. While you're in a dream, you need proof that it's real. Right? You're in a dream, but you need proof that it's real.
Right.
So it's like, so we end up going around trying to manifest proof instead of manifesting our actual life. And that's a wasted life. Could have fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So
Just
pretty
like
exciting time.
for the science, like what's the science? Where's the study? Like there's more than that. There's more than that.
Yeah, we can go down that path forever, but it's like I always go to one example. It's like you go to a court case of someone being murdered, okay? Someone's been horribly murdered. You've got the person defending themselves go, these are the experts that says this bullet did not go through. And you go to the other side, these are the experts that the bullet did go through. Well, shit. There's 2 sets of experts on both sides. That's the game.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, that's the game. And that's actually how I'm looking at this. We're in a video game. I'm convinced we're in a game. We're in a game. I don't even think it's like even a dream anymore. I'm upgrading it to game. And game is spelled GAIM because it's a goal and an aim. That's what the game is. It's just a goal and an aim that we're trying to do. That's it. That's all it is. And we've been talked into a whole bunch of stuff, But go talk to someone, living in the woods and, in the middle of a forest somewhere, in South America or something. They're not in any of this. They're not living in things we're living in,
Yeah.
None of it.
Or the tree in your backyard has no idea what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. And that it's talking to you too, and that you're also creating that tree. You're also agreeing to it. It's kind of crazy. So tomorrow, step 0, draw the line, old life, new life. That's Tuesday. Wednesday, self-love. Wednesday is where the love is turned the highest on earth in the entire year. So it's like, let's just turn up this love. Now, a lot of people, when the love gets turned up, they get angry because they realize they're going without. They realize they're not getting it. So a lot of times, people hurt other people because they're happy. And they're mad that you're happy and they're not. Like your inner child gets jealous. And so a lot of those, strangely enough, on the most loving day of the year, it's usually a lot of people breaking down, freaking out, blaming others, getting mad, getting angry, because their inner child is seeing that person's happy and they're not, and that person's happy and they're not, and that person. And so why are all these people happy and I'm not? Right? And the answer is because you don't love yourself on the inside. You just, you could have said that you loved yourself and you told yourself you're stupid. That was your choice. Like that was the choice that you made in that moment. Is it reversible? Of course. As soon as you say, okay, undo, it's undone. It's silly, but it's true, Then that's Wednesday. So Wednesday's hump day, okay? Because hump day is always the day of the week. We say Wednesday's always the day of the week where it's sort of like could determine which way you're going to go. So some people who don't have resources, like this show or 40 Days of Self-Love, they will get mad on Wednesday and they'll spend the entire Leo season bitter. Every day. More. See, there's more of it. There's more of it. And there's more of it. Because on that day, they chose not to love themselves. They chose to abandon themselves. And so they now go create their whole heart expression for the year, their whole heart business plan, which is what Leo is. What's your heart's business plan for the coming year? Those days, you're going to basically create all the steps and tell each step, then do this. You're programming your conscious. And then on this step, do this. On this step, turn angry on yourself. On this step, blame your neighbor. And on this step, so, and then the universe just plays it out. Just plays it like a record. And for the rest of the year. So for the rest of the year, from Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sag, your heart will do that and continue to follow the same steps until it gets to Leo the next year. By the way, I'm going to be cut off here, I think, in a second. I just realized my battery's at 1, which is the self-love number, ironically. So once again, it always ends with me disappearing. I don't know why. Yeah. It's because I'm eating beverages up in heaven. I like a lot of snacks.
You got to get to it.
Yeah, totally. You wake up from the dream like, that was crazy, that raw thing. Yeah, so you guys, it's an inside job. Love yourself and get some help, for Christ's sakes. Help your inner child. Come to Sirius Joy. We're very affordable. We really just want to help people We could have raised the prices crazy because we found the solution to everything. We really do. We feel like we have found the solutions, and we're not charging anything for it. 1995 is, $25 the most you'll pay, to really change your life and turn it around. So if you really deserve it, you should give it to yourself. You could give it to.
And I think he's gone. So we didn't finish the whole week, but he did give us a bunch of information. We've got today is the last day of Cancer, right? So it's all about feelings. And he said that this is accumulation of the first 28 days, and now we're on the 29th day where it's all going to just manifest into feelings. And then now we're going into Leo, and we're going through what's important to our heart. And I don't think Chris is coming back because he noticed his phone was dying and he didn't plug it in. So I think that's the end, everybody. Thank you guys all. If you're just joining right now, it will be reposted tonight. Take care, and I'll see you guys next week. And I also have a show, my own show, every Wednesday at noon Pacific time. So the way his video froze as he was rolling his eyes. All right, take care, everybody. My show is on Wednesday, Pacific time, noon.